Amelia Torres stood outside the Sunset Studios gate, clutching a worn-out script. She had been to 12 auditions that month, 12 rejections. Every time they said the same thing. "You're talented, but not what we're looking for." Those words haunted her at night more than loneliness. She had moved from a small town in Texas to chase a dream, to become an actress, to see her name in lights. But in the city where fame is currency, she was broke in every way. Her phone buzzed. Low balance alert, $12.87 remaining. She exhaled, staring at the Hollywood Hills in the distance. They looked golden at sunset, almost mocking her. Her roommate had just moved out, leaving her rent unpaid. And to make it worse, her boyfriend of 3 years, Jacob, had called her a failure before walking out. Still, she whispered to herself, "Maybe tomorrow." That's what she said every day. Maybe tomorrow the call will come. Maybe tomorrow someone will see me. Across the city, in a glass office overlooking downtown LA, Ethan Cole sat behind his laptop, staring at a resignation letter. Once a rising music producer, Ethan had worked with up-and-coming artists, until one of them stole his beats, his credit, and his confidence. Now, the same music industry that once called him a genius treated him like a ghost. He shut the laptop and leaned back. The city lights glimmered like diamonds scattered on black velvet, but he felt no spark left inside. His girlfriend, a fashion influencer named Vanessa, had just left him too. She said he was too focused on fixing broken dreams. Maybe she was right. Maybe he'd lost himself trying to make others shine. That night, he packed his old guitar, grabbed his car keys, and drove until the city disappeared behind him. Amelia had taken a part-time job at a small diner in Santa Monica, the kind that never closed and always smelled of coffee and burnt hope. It was 2 a.m. when Ethan walked in, eyes tired, wearing a hoodie that couldn't hide the look of defeat. He sat at the counter, scrolling through old photos on his phone, a life that felt like someone else. Amelia approached with a polite smile. "Rough night?" she asked. "Rough year," Ethan said without looking up. She chuckled softly. "Welcome to LA." He looked up then, and something shifted. Not love at first sight, but recognition. The kind that says you're broken too, aren't you? Over the next few minutes, their small talk turned real. He told her he used to make music. She told him she used to believe in happy endings. They both laughed at how naive they once were. When she handed him the bill, he hesitated. "You ever feel like you're supposed to be someone else?" he asked. "Every single day," Amelia said, "but maybe we just haven't met that version yet." That line would stay with him for weeks. Days passed. Ethan started coming back to the diner, always at the same time between midnight and dawn. He brought his notebook, sometimes his guitar, and sat at the same stool by the window. Amelia would pour his coffee and pretend not to notice how he sometimes hummed to himself, lost in thought. One night, she asked, "You ever gonna let me hear one of those songs?" He smiled for the first time in months. "Only if you promise not to laugh." She didn't. She listened and cried instead. The song was called Still Breathing. It was raw, about fighting to stay alive when life tries to drown you. After he finished, she whispered, "That song deserves to be heard." Ethan shook his head. "No one's listening anymore." But Amelia looked him dead in the eyes. "Then make them listen." Something inside Ethan reignited that night. A week later, Ethan asked her to help him record a demo. She agreed instantly. They used her phone, a $20 microphone, and her tiny apartment living room. They stayed up all night laughing, messing up lines, redoing takes, but when they finished, it sounded honest. Real. Amelia posted the clip on TikTok with a caption. "We made this song at 3 a.m. because we still believe in dreams." By morning, it had 50,000 views, then 500,000, then 1,000,000. Ethan's phone blew up with messages from music bloggers, small labels, and fans who said his song saved their night. He looked at Amelia in disbelief. I think it's happening." She smiled through tears. "Told you maybe tomorrow." As the song spread, so did the attention. Ethan was invited on podcasts, small shows, and even got an offer to collaborate with a major artist. But fame has a cruel habit. It tests your heart before it fills your wallet. People from his past started calling again, including Vanessa. She wanted to talk, pretending it was about old memories. Meanwhile, Amelia kept her distance. She didn't want to be the girl who helped him rise only to watch him walk away. She'd seen that movie before. But one evening, when she came home from work, Ethan was sitting outside her apartment door with 2 coffees. "I didn't forget who was there when nobody else was," he said quietly. That night, they sat on her couch, city lights flickering outside, and talked about everything: their fears, their failures, their dreams. Somewhere between confession and silence, their hands found each other. And for the first time, neither of them felt broken anymore. A song that woke the internet. 2 weeks after Amelia uploaded, still breathing, the world seemed to tilt on its axis. The video hit 10 million views across platforms. Fans called Ethan the voice of healing, saying his lyrics gave them hope through depression, heartbreak, and grief. Podcasters quoted him. Influencers used his song under emotional reels. Late-night shows played clips of his raw recording with the caption, "The guy who made this in his living room." For Amelia, life turned surreal. People came into the diner asking if she was the girl from the video. Some even left big tips, whispering, "Thank you for helping him share that song." Ethan's phone didn't stop ringing, but he kept coming back to the diner, every single night. "You still drink the same coffee," Amelia teased one evening as she handed him his usual cup. "Yeah," he grinned. "It reminds me how this all started." For a moment, everything felt like a dream made real. 2 broken souls suddenly seen, finally winning. One morning, Ethan received an email from Horizon Records, a respected label in New York. They wanted to fly him out for a meeting, with expenses paid. He couldn't believe it. This was the kind of opportunity people prayed for. He showed the message to Amelia, eyes wide. "New York, Amelia, this could be it." "Then go," she said, smiling but holding back tears. "You've earned it." "No," he said softly, "we earned it." But Amelia knew better. The music industry didn't always care about who helped you rise, only who could make you richer. Still, she packed his bag, kissed his cheek, and whispered, "Don't forget where your song was born." He promised he wouldn't. The first time Ethan saw Manhattan at night, it felt like standing inside electricity. Skyscrapers glowed like stars. The energy pulsed in his veins again. At Horizon Records, the executives praised his authenticity, his voice, his message, his look. They offered him a 6-month development contract and a recording budget that could change his life. But there was one catch. "We'll help you build your brand," said the executive, "but you'll need a fresh image. The sad diner girl's story is cute, but we need something more polished." Ethan froze. "The diner girl has a name," he said. "Amelia, and she's the reason I even started again." The room fell silent. The executive smiled coldly. "Then thank her privately. The world doesn't need to know about her." Ethan nodded slowly, but felt a knot form in his chest. Back in LA, Amelia kept working double shifts, pretending she wasn't constantly checking her phone. Ethan called every night, his voice full of excitement and exhaustion. But as the weeks passed, the calls grew shorter. "I'm sorry, babe. They've got me in the studio till 3 a.m. "It's okay," she'd say, forcing cheerfulness. "I'm proud of you." But when she hung up, she'd stare at her ceiling and whisper, "I miss you." Her world hadn't changed like his. Her dreams still waited in silence. One morning, Amelia woke up to her phone buzzing nonstop. Her heart sank when she saw the headlines. Ethan Cole spotted with model Vanessa Gray, new love or old flame. From broke musician to rising star, is this his real muse? The photos showed Ethan walking with Vanessa, his ex, outside a New York hotel. Flashing cameras, smiling faces. Her hands shook. She tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail, again and again. Hours later, she received a text. Ethan, it's not what it looks like. Please don't believe everything you see. She typed back furiously but deleted the message. What could she even say? That she felt invisible again. That she believed in him when no one else did. That night, she walked along the Santa Monica beach, cold wind whipping her hair. For the first time in months, she didn't whisper, maybe tomorrow. She said nothing at all. Ethan's world was spinning faster than he could breathe. The label had scheduled interviews, photo shoots, and a live showcase. But with every move, they pushed him further from who he was. They rewrote his lyrics to sound catchier. They replaced his raw emotion with studio polish. During one meeting, he snapped. This isn't the music I wanted to make. The executive leaned back, smug. Then go back to your diner and sing for tips. That night, Ethan walked alone through Times Square, millions of lights around him, yet he'd never felt darker inside. He opened his phone and scrolled to Amelia's photo. Her smile hit him like sunlight through fog. He dialed her number, no answer. He tried again, still nothing. So he did what he always did when words failed him. He wrote a song. A song about her, about losing yourself in fame and forgetting the heart that started it all. He called it When the Lights Go Down. 3 weeks later, Ethan broke his contract, walked out mid-session. The label threatened to sue, but he didn't care. He booked a one-way ticket back to LA. When he arrived at the diner, Amelia wasn't there. Her coworker told him she had quit. Said she was done with broken promises, the coworker said. Ethan's chest tightened. He searched every place they'd been, the beach, her apartment, the rooftop they once watched sunsets from. Nothing. Finally, as dawn broke, he found her sitting on the pier, watching the waves. She didn't turn when he approached. You're supposed to be in New York, she said quietly. I was supposed to be happy, he replied. She looked at him, eyes full of pain. You said you wouldn't forget where your song was born. He knelt beside her, pulling out his phone, showing her a note. I didn't. I wrote this for you. She hesitated, then took the phone. The song title blinked back, When the Lights Go Down. He said softly, because that's when I finally saw what mattered. Amelia's tears fell freely. You can't just show up and fix everything with a song. Ethan nodded. You're right, but maybe I can start with one. He pulled out his guitar, right there on the pier, and began to play raw, trembling, but true. People walking by stopped, filmed, cried. It was as if every note held an apology. And when he finished, he looked at her and whispered, I don't want the lights, I want us. Amelia took a long breath. Then she smiled through tears. Then stop chasing the world, Ethan. Let's build our own.